So this is a painting that I commissioned an artist to do in 1988 or 89. I wanted to use this painting for the cover of Light Medicine of the Future. The publisher wanted something that looked more like Gray's Anatomy, so they created something else. But it's a very interesting piece because there's light entering the eyes and probably interacting with the hypothalamus and then going to the pineal, and then you see this huge explosion of color going down into the system and then emitted from the system. And in my early years of working with light and color, my whole interest was what was coming in here. At that time, I was only beginning to get the feeling that something was also going out here. And so my real interest at this point is not so much the light that creates eyesight, but the light that catalyzes insight. Two different types of light. This light out here gives us the impression that things are separate. But this other type of light that's of interest to me right now, there's nothing that's separate. Everything is just in a state of oneness. So this has been very, very interesting to me because in my training in optometry and vision science, there was always something out here and there was something looking, observing. And in fact, most people think that we are the ones that are looking for something. But my feeling has been for a long time now that life is actually looking for us. In fact, it was shared with me by a woman that came to one of my events many years ago while I was still teaching about light. Her name was Angèle, and she really was an angel. And she was totally blind. And she came to an event that I did in Sedona, Arizona, and when I saw her walk in and I saw that she had a stick, I immediately got up and I took her hand and I sat her next to me because I had a feeling I wanted her next to me. She had no idea who I was. And we worked with color experientially during that workshop, and she began doing this work that I had developed at home. And she would frequently call me to share what was happening. And she called me one day very excited, and she said, "My whole life changed today." I said, "What happened?" She said, "You know, I've been burdened my whole life because I cannot see. I'm blind," she said. I could not see. And she was a university student. And she said, "But this morning, I got up and I began to walk to class, and all of a sudden I stopped in my tracks because I realized that all the plants, all the flowers, all the bushes, and all the trees were looking at me." And she said, "It never dawned on me that they were looking at me. Everything was about me looking out. And because I couldn't see, there was no life for me." And she said it was an incredible revelation. Everything just changed after that. So I've been very, very intrigued with why it is that the intelligence of life causes light to touch the eye in such a way that the eye reflexively moves to look at it. We think that we are moving the eye, but in fact, The eye is being moved. And it's being moved by something in the intelligence of life, this thing we call light, that is looking for the eye. And when it touches the eye moves by itself. You can see this with babies. They don't move their eyes are literally moved. And after the eye moves, the body moves with it. It reorients itself. It recognizes that something in life is calling to it. And so this intelligence of life, in the form of what we call light, comes into the eye and guides movement through space. And when it touches the eye, what happens is both eyes automatically aim, converge onto the target. And that act of aiming, which occurs as a reflex, it's involuntary. It's designed to be involuntary. You're all paying attention to me. How do I know? Because you're looking at me. The entire process of presence and attention is inseparably connected with the ability of the eyes to just effortlessly converge, aim. So that sets up what we call presence. When the presence happens, there isn't anyone being present. There's just presence. And it's a very expansive instance. And as the eyes converge, they also focus. Now, of course, when I was taught this in school, this accommodation or focus that made things clear, I thought was an optical process. It isn't, because when things become clear, they become understandable. That's when we say, oh, I see. It doesn't mean that I'm just reading the letters. It means that things are clear. Clear. So those initial movements of aiming and focusing set up the entire foundation for presence and knowing. When it is clear, it immediately becomes understandable. The eyes are continually moving. Why? The only constant is change. They're continually dancing with the world. Just there, continually being taken on a journey by whatever in the environment is looking for us. And when they aim and focus and move, which is all happening at the same time, you have two eyes that work together. And when the two eyes work together, you have three-dimensional vision, which is very interesting. It's not just depth perception. The three-dimensionality allows you to immediately know what's looking for you, because it is the body's prioritization system. You don't have to prioritize your life. Your eyes will automatically take you to the next thing that's looking for you. If you allow, it just takes you where you need to be. Because three-dimensional vision allows you to see both foreground and background, what is sticking out is calling to you. And if you just experiment with this process, you'll see how life is looking for you. And you will notice how you are being guided through life, even though you have no idea how it's happening. So, I've been very intrigued with this process of light entering the eye, initially to create a guidance system that's guiding our physical movement through space, through our life. It also became clear to me quite early from my work in syntonics and even work that I did before that, because I began working with light in 1972 while I was still an optometric student, using instrumentation that used specific colors to treat what we call a lazy eye. It was a device called an Otwell instrument. And then I worked with just white light, sending a signal of light in one eye, having it go through the brain and come out the other eye in order to take the good eye and teach the eye that wasn't seeing so well how to see more directly. Then I got introduced and met John Ott in the mid-70s. And I learned something about the fact that we need light that simulates sunshine and the importance of that. That was a great discovery. And then I realized that just having the full spectrum doesn't mean that you take in the full spectrum. And then it really started getting interesting for me, because the science went from a cookbook approach of using specific colors for different things to realizing that the effect that any frequency of light had was directly related to the relationship that that person had with that frequency. In the same way as if I brought an apple up here, all of you would not respond to the apple the same way. Some would say, oh, I love apples, and others, I can't stand apples. Or you bring up a person up here, and half of you are attracted to them, and the other half say, I don't want to have anything to do with them. And it became clear to me quite early that the colors that we perceive are not in the world. They're within consciousness. Even the sounds that we hear are not in the world. They're within consciousness. And so then it became even clearer for me that there was a relationship that all of us were having with the energy or light that was impinging upon the body continually, and how we related to that, and the meanings that we made, and the thoughts that emerged, and the feelings that emerged in that process actually created the effects that we had. So this painting became an interesting reminder for me of many different things that were happening with light. I found something that I thought was very interesting. I thought you might enjoy watching it. It's an interesting integration of color and of vision and also of consciousness. So just enjoy this for a second. So vision is quite interesting. Never know exactly what's coming.